What is up everybody, welcome back to the Crew 2, and in this video I'm going to take a look at the Mitsubishi 3000 GT VR4 No Rules Edition. So I would say the names of the cars are definitely going to get longer with each update, but nonetheless though guys, one thing I did want to point out before I actually get into this vehicle is to how to actually unlock it. So all you will need to do is to head over to activities here in the main hub on the Crew 2, and then click on Motorflix and go all the way over to the right. This is actually probably the easiest way to do this because you can start every single race from the menu instead of trying to actually find them on the map itself. But if you guys might have been wondering though, all you actually have to do is to complete all 5 of these races, which by the way are actually really fun. I'm looking forward to the second part of this later on in this update. But once you complete all 5 of these events, then you will immediately get the car unlocked, and to be honest, from the testing I have done, I would say the No Rules Edition is actually going to be pretty good. I mean, the car's a lot faster than I thought. I would say the only flaw people might find with this thing is the fact that you can't customize it, because, well, it is kind of like a special edition, but I would say a lot of players are most likely still going to like this car regardless, though, because the red on this thing looks really good. I also kind of like how they actually customize it the way they did, and for some odd reason I've always liked the look of the 3000 GT, so seeing another version of this car, I feel like a lot of players are going to like this thing. And I feel like with Ubisoft actually going toward like the mission based stuff with having vehicles as a reward is honestly a pretty cool way to actually do that. So hopefully they will continue that in the future, and or give us different ways to get vehicles unlocked and stuff. I think that is pretty awesome. But now guys, let's go do an outside look of the 3000 GT right now, because I do want to take a closer look at this car. Then we definitely have to go on a quick top speed test, which I'm going to be pretty interested in considering this is a 5-speed. I would say for being a vehicle you can actually get from a reward, I think Ubisoft did a really good job with the design of this car. I mean, it's not overdone. I really like the color combination on it. I would say the only unfortunate thing is you can't actually customize it. But then again, I feel like a lot of people are really going to like the car the way that it is. But I can definitely see where a lot of people are coming from with the ability to actually customize the vehicle. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below, by the way. Do you think we should be able to like change around the vehicles a little bit, even the Summit ones? I honestly think that would be a pretty awesome feature, being able to do that. I really do feel like many people would most likely really like that feature. Now, I do understand that some cars come special and or, part of something like that as a reward, but it's kind of insane to me the only vehicle we've had in a Summit that you could customize to this day is still the Lamborghini Performante. But now let's go see what the top speed of the Mitsubishi 3000 GT actually is. It's not that I didn't like the car, I just was not feeling the way this thing was driving and or shifting. But what's kind of interesting though is after jumping into the No Rules Edition, I was finding this car to be really fun to use, and I was even beating some of my times in races with it. It could be the way the car handles, because I have noticed the handling and stability of this car is going to be pretty dang impressive, which I will talk about that more here in a second in the event. But even flying around turns though, the car doesn't really lose itself. It doesn't like get messed up and or get squirrely. I have been finding some cars to really do that a lot more than they should. And one thing I also was noticing guys is if you have been driving other vehicles in the Crew 2 that might be a little bit slower, for example hitting like 235 miles an hour, driving something like this Mitsubishi might be a bit of a change, because my goodness, look at this top speed right now guys. I mean, this legitimately might be the fastest street car in the entire game, 275 miles an hour. I think I probably could have got like 280 miles an hour out of this vehicle, so that is going to make the No Rules Edition one of the fastest street cars in the game, because I do believe the fastest car currently is going to be the Superleggera. That car does 262, tied with the other car that also came out recently, which is the Version R. If I had to guess, I would say many people are probably not expecting this car to have that high of a top speed, but it looks like the new 3000 GT No Rules Edition is going to hold the crown for the highest top speed at the moment in the street class. So I figured one of the best ways to test out the new Mitsubishi 3000 GT VR4 is to basically jump into one of the races you have to do to actually unlock this car. And well guys, as I did mention before, I really don't think a lot of people were expecting this car to be this fast. I honestly was expecting it to do like maybe 245 or something, but once I went to 5th gear and I was noticing the car actually continuing to accelerate, I then hit the nitrous and I'm like, my goodness, 270 miles an hour. Like, that's honestly pretty insane. I would say this car might have some type of flaws to it with its handling and stability, but to be honest, I wouldn't say it's going to be all that bad for the most part. I mean, the car is pretty stable. It might lose itself a little bit here and there, but then again, with a car with this much power and or that kind of speed, they probably have to do something like that to it to kind of balance this thing out in a way. I would also say many players are most likely going to go after this 3000 GT because of its looks. I actually dig the look of this car for the most part. I think Ubisoft and or Ivory Tower did a really good job with it. And not only that, we're going to have something that can do well over 270 miles an hour. I'm actually wondering how the summits are going to do now with this car being in the game and or some of the races. I'm wondering if everyone in PvP is going to run this vehicle. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I personally feel like having something like this will mix up the street class a lot, because I would say there is going to be some type of meta still with each vehicle class, and for the street category, we all know the Lamborghini Superleggera and or the Porsche GT are basically taking over, so having something like the Mitsubishi here might be a really nice change of pace for many. I might actually try out this car in some of the summits to really see what it can do. Now, one thing I do want to mention though, I'm sure many people might be wondering why I keep stating that this vehicle is a 5-speed, and the main reason why I say that is if you guys are actually running manual a lot in the game, you're probably going to find some of the vehicles being kind of wonky to use in different gear sets. So for example, the 4 speeds can be a bit of a challenge to shift and or get in the right gear, because you might end up downshifting and or upshifting when you shouldn't be. One of the things I noticed about the No Rules Edition though is the fact that because of the higher top speed with this vehicle, I was finding that the gears were actually a little bit longer. I wasn't finding myself downshifting into the wrong gear that often, so I might even go as far as saying this might be one of the best 5-speed cars in the entire game. I might end up testing out other ones as well, because one of my favorite vehicles is the Ferrari F40, but I would say the VR4 No Rules Edition is by far going to be the best 5-speed in the game, and I really do think this car might end up becoming one of the best street cars in the entire game as well, guys, because a lot of the cars really do struggle to hit 230, and I feel like, for example, for myself, I have been running the Q60 pretty often because that car is obviously really good with its handling, but now we're going to have something that can do like 35 miles an hour past that car's top speed. So this car is going to have a bigger advantage on some of the longer events, because you won't have to struggle as much to get to higher speeds and or look for someone to slipstream with to actually get those crazy speeds and or keep your times up in those longer events. I have a feeling the VR4 No Rules Edition is probably going to become one of the best street cars in the game. I'm honestly hoping Ubisoft is not going to nerf it in some way in the future. But then again, we're also going to have the Super Sport 300 Plus in the hypercar class. That's by far the fastest car in that category. So it looks like the new 3000 GT that's part of the update is going to end up being the fastest car in the street category, which I do think is pretty awesome. We're going to have a different mix of vehicles being used. Let me know what you guys think about the 3000 GT in the comments below, and I have a feeling the No Rules Edition is going to be a must-have.